my working tubes are almost over, so it is time to shape the top of a spikelet. I wrap with this extreme tube sticking to the right and glue the very end very carefully in order to cut it afterwards when it gets dry. You must have noticed that I'm weaving with white tubes, because I'm planning to paint different blades of grass, different shades of green. At least I've done this way with that Garland. So if you use school glue, you need about 24 hours to let it dry. Here we will cut afterwards and we'll get a sharp end of a blade of grass. The next blade of grass is similar, but it consists of 3 tubes instead of 5. The extreme ones are going to be stripes again, and the central one will be the tube to be enlaced with the stripes. So we lead the extreme right tube under one tube and onto the following one. Now we lead the same tube left to right, under one stripe onto the tube. As for the left stripe, we lead it under the tube parallel to the lower right stripe. Got it. Then turn the lower one upwards and lead the second one under the neighboring tube onto the next one. The turn has been performed. Place the stripe above. Well, actually all the same things, but there are only 3 tubes engaged. Lay the lower one. Lead the left one under one and onto the second. Got it. Lay the ribbon under the tube. This way, above. Now lay the lower stripe under the stripe above. Lead the right stripe behind one in front of the second. Turn the remaining stripe to the left and place it parallel. 1, 2, 3. The repeating actions. 1, 2, 3. Again repeat the actions. 1, 2, and place parallel 3. A similar zigzag but a narrow one. Blades of grass can be different. They can be either thick or thin. All the ideas have been borrowed from Larissa Gurji in her straw works. One, 2, 3. This way we continue up to the required length of a blade of grass, and in the same way wrap and make the end sharp. And one more spikelet, the one that actually most of all looks like a spikelet. It has also been borrowed from Larissa. In this case you can use a shorter tube, you can make use of remainders of tubes, and a longer one, and make a couple of coils somewhere in the center to fix it somehow. This tube is longer and that one is shorter. And then make regular coils from behind, one over another. Take turns. At first to the right, then to the left. Place over each other. I like them so much, they do look like real spikelets growing in the fields. The coils are not clearly seen on the white. When painted green, it will look like a real spikelet. In order to weave a garland, I paint the spikelets and make a composition of them. Here, in the same way, the easiest way to fix the end is to twist it and glue in order to avoid bothering with thread. Now you can curve it either to the left or to the right, depending on the kind of composition you plan to make. So, I frame one flower with a thick blade of grass, a thin one. I join it like this, and 3 such spikelets. It's better to curve it this way. The next stage is painting. I felt like creating different shades of green, like in the nature. One spikelet is one shade, another one is different. So I've collected all the paints I have close to green color, a brown, a yellow one, some black to make the color rich, and dipped each blade of grass into paint. My previous garland consisted of 11 flowers, which means 11 thick blades of grass, 11 thin ones, and 22 spikelets like this, because I joined 2 of them to each flower. This time I'm trying to adjoin 3. I add a little paint to primer. Actually, I add random volume of paint, well, maybe about a teaspoon. You don't need much of a mixture to paint several flowers and blades of grass. So I've mixed them in a small bucket, primer and a little bit of colorant. I've mixed the solution thoroughly and dipped all the flowers into it. Then I've dipped the spikelets into a different mixture and left them for a while to dry. So I've made 11 compositions of the flowers and spikelets already painted, dried them and cut. They are going to be component parts of a garland. I've stuck them with glue. It is the way they will be like. Now we are going to make the very garland. For making the garland itself, you will need a wire. Mine is galvanized. It is 1.2 millimeters in diameter, about 4.5 points, and long green tubes. Well, if you don't have long ones, you can lengthen them. And shape a circle. Afterwards, this joint will be masked. In my case, it is easy to shape a circle because the wire itself is rolled. You can circle it around some round item, a pot for example, or something similar. Then we start wrapping the circle with moistened tubes. The principle is the same as with making handles. It's better to fix so far. Make coils. The tubes are moistened, let's soften them. So make coils. At the first stage you leave some gaps. By the next layer we are going to fill in the gaps. While making my first garland, 2 layers seemed too little to me, so I've added 2 layers more. So it's up to you to choose the optimal thickness. Besides, the Garland is a rather massive composition, so it seemed to me that it had to be thick to be strong enough. Like this, we lengthen the tubes and continue wrapping the circle. Or you can make a braid and wrap the circle with it, it's up to you. While wrapping, I use dragon glue, not school glue, for lengthening the tubes. Because I reshape the tubes a lot, I have to twist them right after lengthening. School glue is not strong enough for this case, the tubes disconnect. Dragon glue is very helpful in this case. So we've performed the coils. Now hide the tails between the coils. You can use some more glue to fix them more thoroughly. Hide them carefully. And follow the coil. The same with the next one. Release some space for them. Pull the tubes aside and hide. Got it. And the last one. That's all. We've got a base for a garland like this. Now, adjoin all the 11, or how many you've made them, floral compositions. I've done with the help of glue gun. At first I tried plating them in, because I felt like making it neater, but I failed to. So I decided to glue the compositions and afterwards to mask the joints with spikelets. And before I finish, I'd like to add a few words on where else you can apply this technique of flower weaving. As I've already mentioned, I found it in the topic of weaving with palm tree leaves and applied to paper craft weaving. As well, I'd like to try applying the technique to natural materials. The closest natural material available is bulrush. At least it is the closest material I've found. It grows near by the river. That's why I decided to try. The result has pleased me. You can make such compositions as birthday gifts, but you can make them only in summer with fresh bulrush. I varnish the composition when it's finished and it remains the way it is. However, bulrush becomes dry very fast, so I've decided to try drying some bulrush and using it for our paper compositions. I've made such a composition. A few osiers, you can prepare them beforehand. A few bulrush leaves, already dry. And here are our paper stripes. I rolled the tubes special in such a way to make them natural looking. So you can apply this technique of flower weaving in such different ways. To finish with, I'd like to wish you all the best for the coming holidays. Health first of all. On Kupala Night it was traditional to look for a blooming fern, which was supposed to show the way to the most valuable treasures on earth. I believe nowadays the most valuable treasure is health. So I wish strong health and well-being to all of you. Protect yourselves with the help of amulets. Good luck!